welcome to my channel. My name is Lauren. This video is an additional video that goes along with my video course on how to be psychic. So this is for part 2 of the psychic skills course. If you haven't seen them yet, go onto my website and check out my courses. I give tons of information in them, and these are additional videos to sort of go along for extra practice. So today I'm going to be giving extra tips on how to turn on and off your psychic ability. Now, why this is important, I think, is fairly obvious, because it's about making sure that we can turn on and off our ability. We don't want to be bothered by psychic energy. We don't want to be, bothered by spirits when we are walking around our work. It's very important that we have control over when and where and how we receive psychic information. So my first exercise that I have is a cord exercise, and it requires 2 people. So I had my friend Rob come and help me out. Another way you can turn on your psychic ability is by sending an imaginary cord to your client. So I might take a moment and sit here and meditate and send an imaginary cord from maybe my heart chakra to Rob's heart chakra. And he might not be aware that I'm doing this, but this is one way that I can connect with Rob. And then I'll do the reading, and when I'm done with the reading, I need to make sure that I pull that cord back. And I do this lovingly and not in a harmful way, and I just pretend to pull that cord back, and this is another way I can keep my energy separate from Rob's. The next exercise that I have for you is by making a physical movement. A physical movement during your ritual of turning on and off your psychic ability can be very helpful, especially if you're an empath or you're very clairsentient. The physicality of it is very helpful. So I've seen a lot of people, a lot of psychics, literally, they do this, they shake off the energy. You can even do something as simple as pretending to turn on and off a light, and you can be on, off. And I know that some of that might look silly, but sometimes it's very helpful, especially when you're starting, to have a physical movement. Another thing that you can do is to put oil on your hands at the beginning of a reading, and then maybe go wash your hands at the end. Another physical thing you can do is to clap. I won't do it here, but clapping is really great because it clears the energy of a room. And so you can clear the energy at the start of your reading, and you can clear it at the end. And this can be another physical movement that sort of, you tell yourself in your brain, okay, turning it on, turning it off, kind of like clap on, clap off. Another fun thing you can do with physical actions is pretend to press a remote. You can literally do something like this, do a little action like that, turning it on or turning it off. I feel like you should maybe differ them so it's not the exact same, but it's another great way if you really are into the physical nature of turning on and off your ability. You can also turn on and off your ability by simply setting an intention. And this could be verbal, actually out loud, or this could be to yourself. And this is something I do to sort of set my intention. And I ask all the energies in the room to come in or to leave. And again, all the energies for our highest and best good. So this is kind of crossing over into boundary setting a little bit. So you can use some of your boundary setting tools also as a way to remind yourself, okay, I'm turning this on. Nope, turning this off, I'm done. The next exercise that I'm going to give you guys for turning on and off your psychic ability is very visual. You can basically decide to clear out a room. So before a reading, I sort of, meditate, and what I do is I close my eyes and I pretend that my whole house is starting to become covered in white, gold, beautiful light. And I go wall by wall, and then I do the ceiling, and then I do the floor, and I sort of imagine this big, just white wall of whiteness, I don't know, pushing through my rooms. And as I'm doing that, I'm setting the intention that I'm pushing out any negative energy, and at the same time I'm also welcoming in the good energy. And this is a technique that I use to also turn on my ability, because as I'm doing this, I'm saying, welcome in, talk to me, I'm going to start receiving psychic information. And then at the end of the reading, what I will do is say thank you. Thanks to all the guides for coming in, giving me all the information. You guys can leave now. And so I don't necessarily push them out, but I ask them to leave. And then I imagine the room still filled with that gold white light, but I just, I keep it there. There's no reason we need to get rid of the white light. And this is a great way for me to sort of be like, okay, the reading is over, nobody's here, nobody's going to talk to me, I am ending this process and I'm turning off my ability. The next exercise is really for people who are very chakra oriented, especially when it comes to intuition. So if you feel really connected to your third eye, this is a great exercise for turning on and off your ability. So when you turn it on, you can pretend that there's like a little door that opens right over your chakra, and you're setting the intention that when this opens, I'm going to receive this psychic information, it's going to come in this way. And then when you're done, you can imagine the little door closing and pushing that energy out. You can also do this with your crown chakra, and I do this in my readings, and I actually ask my client at the beginning of the reading to sort of do a brief meditation with me, and I sort of have them pretend to open up the top of their head to receive white light and information, and then we close it at the end. And so that's really great if you are really in tune with chakras. And again, it's another great little visualization that you can use to turn on and off your ability. If you're a very visual oriented person, doing visualizations of turning on and off your ability might be super helpful as well. So as you're meditating, one of the things that you can do is you can put a door in front of you. You can pretend like this is the door that you go through to get psychic information. Make that door whatever you want it to look like. You can even make a room on the other side that you enter. And basically what you want to do is open that door when you're ready to turn on your psychic ability. You could step through, or you can let light and love come out, you know, whatever you want it to look like. And then when you're done with the end of the reading, you can close that door. So this visualization can also be used to strengthen your clairvoyance. And that I'll get into in my next additional video. But one of the things you can do is pretend to turn on and off a TV. And you can use that TV during the reading to receive information. So you can always reference back to it. So, you know, at the beginning, before you do a reading for yourself or someone else, turn on that TV and pretend that that's where you're going to get your information. And you can keep referring back to it during the reading, and you might see things on the TV. And then at the end, turn the TV off. You're like, nope. That's the only place that I can receive psychic information. All of these exercises at the heart are basically just about intentions. And sometimes assigning visualizations or physical movements to our intentions can be a super easy way to just make sure that you actually turn it on and off your ability. Another idea that I'm having as I talk is that you could also use objects. So you can bring out objects that you say, okay, when I set these out on this table in this way, I am in reading mode. This could be crystals, I don't know, cards. I think the point of this is that you only bring them out when you do a reading, and then you put them away when you are done. And the physical objects can be your sign to the universe, to your guides that, hey, I'm open, ready to read, or I'm done, moving on to the next thing of the day. So the last exercise that I have for you guys is something that I tend to find that most psychics do once they've practiced and practiced and practiced. You know, once you start to do this all the time, turning on your ability, setting your boundaries, getting present can happen super, super quick. And I usually do this in this exercise, and it's called 3 deep breaths. And it's literally just taking 3 deep breaths. And when you get really practiced, you'll start to notice, okay, during these 3 deep breaths, all I'm doing is setting my boundaries, setting my intentions, turning on my psychic ability, and saying, you know, information of my highest and best good only, yada, yada, yada. And you'll find that usually you can do that within those 3 deep breaths. Again, this is once you've practiced it enough, and this is just a habitual reminder to do all of those things. And so that's where I'm at this point. I don't need to take a 10-20 minute meditation before I do a reading. I just know what that energy is like. I know how to set it. I know how to set it fast. I know how to turn on my ability and trust that it's on. So usually taking 3 deep breaths is enough to get me into that zone. And then on the way out, you know, what I do is I do the 3 deep breaths, but I have a different intention. I'm like closing my third eye chakra. I'm shutting down. I'm pushing out all the energy. I'm thanking them. and I'm setting up that bubble around myself again. And so again, that can be done really quickly at the end, and it's usually enough. Awesome, guys. I hope these extra tips were helpful for you for turning on and off your ability. Let me know in the comments below which ones are your favorite. I'm really curious what my favorites are versus yours. So remember to check out the other additional exercises for part 2. And if you haven't already checked out the video course, go to my website, psychiclauren.com, and you can check out part 1 and part 2 of my basic psychic course. And thank you guys for watching, and remember at the end of the day to trust your own intuition.